If you're trying to get lean and healthy, stop eating fake food. You won't get there. We're going to talk about real food in 5 strong ways, backed by data and science and experience, in which real food will make you lean and healthy. Let's go.
Yes. We talk about this a lot, but I don't think you have formulated it in a fitness tip. So.
No. So when I say real food, what I'm referring to, this is just to get your attention. When I'm referring to
like
whole natural
one
foods.
ingredient.
Yeah, exactly. Food that wasn't engineered, right? Yeah. So heavily processed foods, what I'm talking about when I say fake food, yes, you can eat it. So I know it's technically food. But when I say fake food, that's what I'm talking about. And real food is whole natural foods. And I'll talk about the first reason why, and this is the biggest reason, by the way, why real food almost always leads to a body that's more lean and healthy. And that's because you naturally eat less. This is one of the largest effects of heavily processed foods is that they make you overeat. It's such a powerful effect. Mm-hmm. It's duplicated in study after study after study. And this is primarily, it's not the only reason, but it's primarily why we have an obesity epidemic. It's probably one of the biggest reasons why we struggle with being overweight is that our diet now is comprised of a majority of this fake, quote unquote fake or heavily processed food, which has been carefully, scientifically engineered to do one thing, and that is to make you overeat. So if you just stay away from that, you naturally eat less. In other words, not because you're trying to eat less, you feel just as full, but you're eating less calories as a result.
Is it the volume of it or the fiber? What is it about the whole foods that makes it so much more satiety producing?
You can add,
because obviously I know
usually
that
always balanced with fibrous.
I know
material.
that we can manufacture or produce something that's this big that has 400 or 500 calories, right? By making something like that. But normally Whole Foods, you get 400 or 500 calories is more volume. So is it the volume of the whole foods? Is it the fiber that comes with it? Like what is it? What is it exactly that is so much more satiety producing than processed foods?
There's a lot of components that go into that, but the umbrella term would be palatability. So you could take a heavily processed food.
Oh, you think it's more about palate fatigue than it is?
100%. Yeah, because you could take heavily processed food and throw a bunch of fiber and protein in it, which will make it produce more satiety than if it didn't have it. But because it's engineered to be so palatable, it's still going to cause you to overeat, even with the same volume, even if all things were the same. So it really has to do with palatability. So palatability is, you could loosely define it as the enjoyment that you get from eating something. So like the experience, the taste, the addictive properties or qualities. And that right there causes a few different things. One, you eat faster. And two, because it's essentially tapping into this enjoyment process, this experience, again, it's engineered to do so, your body signals that say stop eating don't kick in till later, till much later. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's like this. I'll use an example. We're pretty strict at home with TV with my kids, okay? So my son gets 20 minutes of TV a day total. However, he can watch unlimited Mr. Rogers. So you guys remember Mr. Rogers when we were little? So for people who don't know, Mr. Rogers was this TV show on public television back in the day. And if you watch it now as an adult, you'll realize just how slow it is. It's so slow. It's not exciting. There's no cuts. It's very different from what you would see today for kids. Have your kids watch Mr. Rogers and then watch them stop watching at a particular point. Now have them go on their iPad and tell them to come off when they're ready, and they won't, because it's really messing with the wiring of their system of the enjoyment, where the kid doesn't want to come off. Whereas Mr. Rogers, you kind of like you're done after a couple episodes. I'll let my kids watch as much as they want, and they watch an episode and they're like, okay, let's go play. It's not so enticing and so addicting that it just keeps them stuck. Heavily processed foods are so well engineered that you just eat more of them, and it's about 600 calories more a day. This is what and the best studies ever done on nutrition are the ones done on heavily processed foods, because they're in a lab. They're actually controlled. They'll put people in these two rooms, and they'll control for macros. Yeah. One room heavily processed, one room whole natural foods, and they'll have the groups, and they'll tell them, eat as much as you want, and they'll just observe them, and then they'll switch the groups over. They'll actually have this group go back in this room, and this group go in this room, and they've repeated these studies. It's like 600 more calories a day, which, by the way, if you're trying to lose weight, typically you'll cut your calories by about 500 to 600 calories. If you're trying to gain weight, you typically bump them 500 to 600 calories. And those are both aggressive. So, and this is just happening naturally. Yeah. So when you stick to whole foods, without even trying to, you just eat less food.
Yeah, it just seems a food science. There's such a multitude of factors that go into that, with the size and being able to condense a lot of, the nutrients and the ingredients to where you could put it in chip form where it's even more like has more crunch to it. So therefore you can sort of like put down a lot more than you normally would be able to eat tortilla wise. And two, like Whole Foods, you have to add a lot of spices. They figured out the perfect combo of spices and everything else to keep your interest high, and then switching that out. We always go back to that like tub of ice cream versus having like salted French fries, and like just going back and forth between the different types of novel tastes. And so like to be able to do that, they make it so easy because it's like you have this like smaller condensed version that's like packed with sugar or packed with salt, and it's like this constant easy way to consume.
It's really hard for people to back out of too, because when you eat a lot of processed food, it robs you of those natural good flavors. I remember this was when I competed and having to like be so strict on Whole Foods for that was the longest period of time I ever like did not stray from that. And I remember how wild it was. Here I am, late 20s, and for most of my life would say fruit was kind of
bland,
whatever. You know what I'm saying? I never craved it, never cared about it. You know, in fact, the times I ate it was like, oh, because it's around, we're at the pool and watermelon's out, I'll have some. It was never like, oh, I want this. Until I was eating nothing but Whole Foods for an extended period of time, and then biting into an apple or a banana or some grapes, it felt like the same type of feeling I got if I were to eat candy. But eat a bunch of processed foods for the next couple weeks or months consistently again, then go back to it, and it's like it goes away. So that's the other part about this that makes this really difficult is once you've kind of opened Pandora's box and you eat processed foods every day all the time, and then someone like us is trying to convince you to eat whole foods because they're so much better for you to stay healthy, you're like, oh my God, I have no desire for it.
You're actually pointing to the second point, which is whole foods are healthier in both body and behavior. And we'll get to the body part, but behavior is what you're talking about. So because they're so well engineered, so it's, you have salt, sugar, and fat are the classic ingredients for palatability, but food scientists have taken it to the millionth degree with chemicals and colors and ways of making certain flavors linger and others disappear. And then it's like the texture on the tongue. Like it's really a science, everybody. It's a crazy science. And what happens is your brain starts to adapt to this introduction of this crazy experience. That's what it is, literally. It's a crazy experience. If you took someone from 1,000 years ago and brought them today and introduced them to heavily processed foods, they would be like, what am I eating? Like, what's happening here? Your brain starts to adapt to it. So what happens is you have receptors that downregulate. You have brain chemicals that start to change. So when you eat a lot of like candy, you eat a lot of grape flavored candy, real grapes taste like nothing.
Terrible.
Bland. They don't taste like anything because your brain literally has molded and shaped itself to this. And then from a behavior standpoint, here's what happens. There are lots of values to food, one of which is the experience, because that's a real value. So I'm not one of those fitness people. We're not one of those fitness podcasts that says food is just fuel, which is that's a lie. Food is also experience. We can't deny that. However, when you make the experience so overwhelming because you've engineered it, your behavior starts to tilt towards valuing just that. So what you have in modern societies are people that are completely unaware of any of the values of food aside from the experience. That's all in fact, that's how they make every choice. So you have a group of friends talking about lunch. What are we gonna have for lunch? This is what the conversation sounds like. What do you feel like? I feel like this. Oh, let's get that. There is no awareness around how this affects my health, my energy, my digestion, because it's such an overwhelming experience that we're now so numb to that's all our behavior points to. is that. So it actually is unhealthy for our behavior. It's unhealthy for our brain. And it's also unhealthy for our body because the way they engineer these foods includes so many chemicals that, sure, they've passed certain levels of testing, but there is no test in the world that combines all these over long periods of time to see what it could potentially do to your body. In fact, we're discovering some of these now. I mean, they just banned artificial food dyes, which have been legal for decades, because now we're able to show in the data that it's not good for you. Today's giveaway is the Super Bundle. If you want to win, leave a comment below this video in the first 24 hours that we drop it. Subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications. If you win, we'll let you know in the comment section. We also have a sale this month. MAPS 15 Performance and the RGB Bundle, 50% off. If you're interested, go to mapsfitnessproducts.com and then use the code MAY50 for the discount. Back to the show.
I also don't think we're a podcast that demonizes processed foods either. I think it's just a level of awareness. If you're somebody who manages weight really well and stays in good shape and you eat processed foods occasionally or even frequently, then I'm not talking to you. But in my experience...
But you're rare.
Yeah, you are. You're rare. Because most people that eat a lot of processed foods struggle with weight. Yeah. And they struggle with that urge to eat more and to overeat. And so that's who I'm communicating this to.
Crazy. Yeah.
It's like, hey, if you figured the formula out that, hey, as long as I eat these things and do this by this time and get my workouts in, I can have the occasional processed food in my diet. I'm cool. Dude, I don't care. But that's not the case. It's always these people that are struggling with calorie control, and it's primarily because of this. And if they were to just get rid of that, and again, not demonizing it, just letting them, making them aware that that's how powerful this is, that if you just prioritize whole foods, you'd be surprised on how easy it is to control those other things. And the positive thing is that if you were anything like me, where vegetables and fruit was bland and boring, you can get that back.
That's right.
It's not like you lost, almost 30 years it was bland to me, and then later on, which is what has actually always keeps me kind of in check, right? I allow plenty of processed foods in and out of my diet. What keeps me from going off the rails and eating mostly processed food is I know I start to crave that crap. And whenever I feel that, I know, it's time to kind of rein it back in, because I don't want to lose the enjoyment of fruit and vegetables and these things that are good for me. And I know if I continue down that rabbit hole, even if I'm keeping my calories in check and not getting fat, I know I'll lose that the palatability of healthy foods.
Yeah, you show me a household that is obese, and I'll show you a household that consumes mostly heavily processed foods. Right. Okay. Almost every single time. As a trainer, when I train clients and I figured this out, I actually threw away. Well, I don't want to say throw away. I stopped advising people on all the other nutrition tips and tricks and advice that I used to do. I actually pushed it all aside, and this is all I would do. Just eat whole natural foods. I literally replaced everything for the average client that I trained with just that. And the average client will lose 10 to 15 pounds alone from not trying to eat less, from not trying to count anything, from not trying to do anything at all, aside from just eating until they're full and eating whole natural foods. It was like clockwork. It was like magic, to the point where people would come to me afterwards and literally think they couldn't understand it. Like, I'm actually more full than I used to be. Why am I losing weight? As if there's some magical thing that's happening. And I would tell them, you're eating less calories. And they would literally debate me. No, I'm not. I'm totally full. You should have seen dinner last night. I'm like, trust me, you're eating less calories.
This is so powerful. I can remember the first conversation that I started to do the same thing, where I stopped writing a meal plan out and check their weight and activity level, and then figuring out their macros, and here's your calorie balance where you need to be. And I just went, these are the foods I want you to eat from. And they would look back at me. I'll never forget the first time the guy sat across from me. He was like 80 pounds overweight. He says, where do my calories need to be? I said, I don't care. What do you mean you don't care? I said, if you stick to just eating from these foods that I wrote down, all these foods, choose them however you want, eat the protein first. That's all I'm asking you to do. Let's just see where the calories land. I'm not even worried about it. I feel confident that if you just do that, this weight's going to come. And I remember the look on his face, but I also remember how effective it was. And going forward, that was exactly how I coached all my clients. I'm not going to make up these arbitrary numbers of like, you need to be exactly 2,750 calories. And it's like, man, if I just got rid of all the processed foods and gave them that, and the thing I didn't realize I was also doing that came later was the psychology of that too, was that you weren't telling them they can't. The power of
you're not saying eat less.
Yeah, the power of telling a client, like you say, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's like, just go get this. If just go focus that was massive too, was focusing on that versus the what I can't have was a huge difference.
Totally. Next up, it's just whole foods are better for your digestion. They contribute to better motility. They contribute to a more diverse microbiome. They digest slower, which is good. So processed foods are essentially broken down, pre-digested ingredients put together in a package. And when you eat those, they tend to get processed through the body a little faster, or on the reverse, they can cause things like digestive issues, like slower motility, which can cause all kinds of other problems. Whole natural foods, especially when you include things like vegetables and fruits, this is the fix for most people when it comes to digestive issues. This right here alone tends to be the fix. And again, that was a wonderful side effect I would get from clients who would start eating this way, is they'd be like, oh, you know what?
Regular bowel movements are nice.
And I'm not getting bloated anymore. My heartburn's kind of going away. Like, this is wild.
Yeah, it's amazing how like nature's got natural limiters.
Yes.
You know? It sort of like gives you that signal, and so you just naturally will, I'm good, I'm full. And it's hard to get that from processed food.
You know, not to switch directions right here, but this point reminds me of something else that we've seen. I've seen this more recently with the introduction of GLP-1s, you know, since we're speaking of digestion. One of the, like you've heard people, some of the negative side effects, one of them is people, oh man, it just messed up my digestion. 90+% of those people that have said that to me aren't changing their food choices.
Right. They're just eating less of the same
They're
garbage.
eating less of garbage. And this is part of why the GLP-1 works so well, is because it slows that process down. And it almost forces you to have to eat whole foods, because if you eat anything that is like fast digesting, it throws you off like crazy. So you don't even want the process. And I remember feeling this when I went through this. It was like there was no desire for that food, because it's like instantly your stomach knows, like, oh, that the last time I tried it didn't even feel right. The only thing that seems to feel right is this chicken and rice, or like things that were lean and healthy and easy to digest. And so that's one of the things that's a positive, but some people look as a negative because they still keep eating the way they keep eating fire Cheetos and then wondering why. I don't understand why the GLP-1's not working for me. It just messed up my digestion really bad. It's because, well, you're eating fire Cheetos still. That's the reason why.
Totally. Next is, you know what's in it. So when I go buy rice and a potato and steak and a banana, I know what's in there. If I buy a banana, that's the ingredient. If I get some steak, it's beef. That's what's in there. Whole heavily processed foods oftentimes have ingredients that, you know, maybe if you're well versed, you recognize, but do you really know what it is? Do you really know where this comes from? Yeah. Do you know how this affects your body, especially in combination with these other ingredients that are put in there to increase its shelf life and its texture,
preservatives,
and the color and the whatever, like
gum.
You just you just don't know. And by the way, I know a lot of this stuff is tested. So you get the super science zealots who are like, everything's a chemical. Okay, technically that's true. But there are individual variances on how we react to these things as well. And sometimes you don't know what's causing what. Now, if I eat a banana and it causes issues, it's a banana. Right. If I eat banana candy, I don't know what's in. Is it the banana? Is it the banana extract, which is probably not even in there? Is it the yellow number whatever? Is it the other stuff that makes it, the shape that it is or whatever?
Sticky. And
you have no idea. So you just don't know. Even if you look at the ingredients, you don't know. But when you buy whole natural foods, you know what you're eating. And here's the other part of it, by the way. Calculating macros. I know people think it's easier with heavily processed foods because they look at the box and they go, oh, one serving is this many calories. Actually, if you take an extra step with whole natural foods and you weigh it and measure it the first time, you're far more accurate with whole natural foods, because heavily processed foods are allowed to have a margin of error, which is, I believe,
25%.
25%.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you eat a 2,000 calorie, let's say you eat a 2,000 calorie diet based off of processed foods. And so you're like, oh, this is exactly 2,000 calories. No, it could be as high as 2,300 calories.
Yeah.
Because the FDA gives them a 25% margin of error. Now, if I take a banana and I peel it and I weigh it, I know exactly what the macros are. If I take a steak and I measure it, chicken breast, and measure it, broccoli, I measure it. And yes, you have to measure it one time, okay? Once you do that, I know exactly what my macros are. With the heavily processed foods, the margin errors. And so now good luck. How can you figure out how many calories are in your boxed whatever? Because you don't know if the label is 25% off. How are you going to figure it out any other way? Are you going to measure every single ingredient that's in there? Do you know how much of it? It's impossible. Yeah. It's absolutely impossible.
Not only that, you have to think too that if the FDA allows that 20 to 25% to be off, and you are marketing your food as health food, it's in your best interest to go to 19%.
That's right.
I mean, it's in your best interest to say
it probably has more than it says because they want to market as lower.
Of course.
Yep.
Well, I mean, that just makes sense. If FDA is going to give you that much wiggle room, you're marketing your thing as a low calorie snack.
Yeah.
You're not going to overestimate. You're going to underestimate. I mean, that's just that's simple. I mean, there's no and
by the way, there's many lawsuits that have happened because remember Detour?
Yes.
Bars. Where they were off by a huge
By the way,
margin.
so here's the thing. I was going to make this point. Is there's been lawsuits of this, and the only lawsuits I've seen, it's when it's egregious.
Yes,
it's like so. I wonder if it's like 26%.
No.
It's like
I think Detour was like
it was egregious. Yeah. It was like double the calories, half the protein. It was like not even. It was literally a Snickers bar that they were marketing as a high protein snack, and it was just not that at all.
So delicious.
So there's been
so good.
There's been other cases. I know Detour is one of the most famous ones because it happened during our time as trainers, and when that bar got really famous. But this has happened. But every case I've seen, it's these egregious situations. It's never.
They're not going to get sued for being 20% off because they're allowed to.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So you have the people that are.
That means, by the way, a 500 calorie whatever could have 600 calories. like when you're when I'm working with people on reverse dieting or cutting, like they're moving a few hundred calories a day. If it's all if it's all heavily processed foods, we could be totally off and have no idea because the box says this, but the reality is something completely different. Yeah. Whole natural foods, that's what's in it. You measure it once, you see it, that's done deal. You are super accurate in comparison. Finally, whole natural foods require more presence and planning. All right, now you might think that's not a good thing because I just want to be fast. One of the biggest, I would say, negatives of heavily processed foods, which is what we value, which is speed, convenience. That's actually a negative, everybody. Yep. What it's done is it's encouraged this unawareness and mindlessness around food.
Now you can eat it on the go.
That's right. In fact, I'll make this point right now. You like, let's think of a junk food that you might like. Let's say you like French fries or you like donuts. I bet you if you took the time to make the donuts from scratch, you probably would be better off because of the presence that it took and the energy that it took to go with versus buying it real quick and eating it real quick.
Sure.
And I think, and that's more of a behavior thing that tends to happen. Heavily processed foods encourage lack of awareness. They encourage this like speed of meet this desire of I need to feel this experience. I need to taste this thing. Boom, 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 real fast, done deal. I'm out of here. That's the term fast food, right? Kind of came from that. Whole natural foods requires a little bit of planning, which means I have some more presence, which means I can say, I probably should eat a little more of this. I'm probably eating too much of that. And it just results in a better situation.
I mean, what a better way to hijack all your systems to cram food in quicker.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is where all these other things where chewing your food makes a big difference. And you're not drinking drinks with your food makes a big difference. And it's that awareness and that presence for your body to really process it and pay attention, to a lot of the feedback that you're getting as you're eating and digesting it instead of just, cramming it in really quickly and moving on to the next thing and eating mindlessly.
What about micronutrients? I feel like, I've always felt that there's no way that this is processed food that we've fortified with all these vitamins and minerals to make like whole foods, it's got to be equivalent to the micronutrients found in the whole food.
No, there's no way.
Yeah.
I know it's
No
just
way.
I know science says it is. It just doesn't feel like it can be.
No.
And so I feel like this is another one of those somewhat unknowns of like there's other benefits too
Got to be a bit of a
besides
factor in there for sure.
just the
we
ones
know
we've
a
listed.
lot. We know a lot of what's in food. There's a lot of stuff we still don't know, but let's just stick with what we know. So forget the unknown, because I can make that argument too. I could say, look, we've discovered a lot of things about food, but there's things that we don't know. There are cofactors and these micronutrients. There are these hormetic, compounds that have this effect on the body that we still haven't really discovered how they
We
work.
know certain combinations of certain things
like,
changes the.
We don't understand this all yet, but let's put that aside. Let's just say the stuff we know. They're only going to add in processed foods what they have, what has some popularity or some data or something
Some kind of
supporting
RDA
it.
standard.
So you hear about sulforaphane. I'll bring that up, right? We hear about that all the time. Sulforaphane helps detoxify the body, anti-cancer. Well, now they're going to start adding it to certain health foods. But before we started talking about it, it wasn't in there. The only way you got it was you ate broccoli or you ate broccoli sprouts, right? So of the stuff we know, they're only going to add it to food once there's awareness and popularity and some people talking about it. So good luck getting these nutrients in your foods, even the ones we do know. And then, of course, there's the argument of the stuff we don't know. Eat a vegetable or a fruit or some meat or whatever, and there are things in there and combinations and things that we still don't fully understand. So how far are we? Could you keep someone alive with complete processed food for the rest of their life? Yeah. Will they thrive? Probably not. In fact, there are situations where you have kids with like severe autoimmune issues or whatever that have to live almost entirely on shakes and processed foods. And you can kind of tell. You can kind of see it. Yeah. And you talk to athletes, the athletes I would talk to who are the best ones to give you anecdote about this, I would say are bodybuilders, because bodybuilders are so ridiculous and meticulous about their diet. Yeah. And talk to bodybuilders when they've included processed foods versus not including processed foods in their pre-contest prep. I know you've said this, Adam, and they'll tell you everything was the same, but it feels different. Yeah. It just doesn't feel the same. So interesting stuff. Anyway, I got to tell you guys, rarely do I get excited over a new, I don't know if you label it a supplement, that I've been reading about. I was reading about this weekend. So there's a compound called paraxanthine. I think I'm pronouncing it right. And I was reading about it because caffeine, when you eat caffeine or you take caffeine, is broken down into 3 metabolites. One of them is paraxanthine. Paraxanthine is what they think, actually the data now really supports this, is what gives caffeine all of its awesome effects. The other 2 metabolites are what give caffeine its negative effects. So here's what they did.
So they're isolating it now.
They took it out and they did studies on it. And here's what they found. Paraxanthine gives you the wakefulness, the energy, the feel good, no jitters, no anxiety, doesn't affect sleep poorly, doesn't have the same drop off crash, like basically none of the negatives of caffeine, all the positives. So I was reading all these studies on this and I'm like, this is crazy. And the reason why I'm excited is because when you consume caffeine, you already get paraxanthine. So it's not like this new thing that we're like discovering, this new chemical. Yeah. It's like, well,
it's just the benefit of it.
Well, we've already like when you drink caffeine, about 2/3 of it turns into paraxanthine. So 2/3 of it turns into this. So we've already used this. Like I had energy drink earlier or whatever, paraxanthine, I'm already having it, but I also have the other 2 metabolites. So I'm getting excited because I'm like, oh wait, this is something our bodies are already used to. We've already felt this. Studies are saying you get none of the negatives. So then I'm reading reviews I'm going on Amazon and reading reviews of people who've used these products and whatever. And they're like, I quit coffee, I quit energy drinks, I feel so much better. It's really crazy. Yeah.
So since you went down that rabbit hole, I think I brought this up a long time ago on the show and you kind of shot it down. I was under the impression a long time, I wish I remember where I read it, but I remember reading up on caffeine and its effects on the body that we get. And I understood it to be like almost like a downer where it's what we feel, the high or the energy rush that we get is our body fighting against what it's doing. No, it blocks receptors that allow circulating levels of like energy producing compounds to increase. So it's actually, it blocks certain receptors that then give us this
wakefulness feeling.
Okay, so that is kind of a negative. It's negatively. I mean,
I hear what you're saying.
Right,
Yeah,
and it's the body trying to overcome that.
I mean,
gives you that positive.
I wrote down a little bit of stuff around it, but yeah, it's it essentially the compounds, it increases circulating levels of the things that give you that energy by blocking their reabsorption. I think if I'm not mistaken, but pyrazethine does it better and doesn't cause a lot of the negatives, and it's way less toxic. So like caffeine by a certain level will hurt you.
Any addictive properties to it, like caffeine?
That's a good question. People are saying, I don't know.
So how is this compound? Is it just in pill form? Are they trying to put it in drinks? Or
right now, there's only a few companies that are making it. We're not working with anyone, so I'm not going to give anybody.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm curious.
Well, at least until we try it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to make sure we try it because I'm like tripping out.
I mean, I'm interested. I'm curious. It sounds interesting.
It does.
You know. It sounds like it won't work as well, but it sounds interesting.
The reviews are like, people are like, it works so much. It's great. I love it. I can't believe I stopped drinking energy drinks and stopped drinking coffee.
It's probably an individual thing too. You know, like some people are pretty receptive to caffeine versus not. So
yeah,
I wonder.
Dude, I'll bring you guys some.
Did you order it already?
Of course I did.
Of course you did. What even sent you down that rabbit hole? What were you doing?
I was reading, I don't know how I went down that. I think I saw a post on X. And I'm like, that's interesting. Oh, what did that say?
Stronger locomotor activating effects?
So lower toxicity, lesser
greater wake promoting properties,
stronger locomotor activating effects, greater wake promoting properties, and stronger dopaminergic properties.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Better for the brain apparently, and yeah, pretty interesting. It's supposed to be good for the brain for the brain too. So
to try it.
I don't know. Hey, sorry to interrupt. Look, we have a free guide. It's the benefits of eating whole foods. This gives you a shopping list, what foods are best for proteins, fats, carbohydrates. There's recipe samples. It's all based on real, whole, natural foods, and it's a free guide. It's totally free. You can get it if you go to wholefoodsguide.com or by clicking on the link in the description below.
Did your wife tell you about our sons this weekend?
Oh, so you were telling me a little bit. They were talking about dinosaurs.
So I just heard. I didn't even know about it. I didn't see it happen. We hosted the staff at the house this weekend. Right, we barbecued for everybody. Everybody came
good time,
over.
by the way. Thanks for having us over.
Great time. It was a really good time.
Nice.
Had a good time with see the whole team there and everything like that. Kids were there. Katrina's telling me this late last night as we're in bed. She's just like, hey, did I tell you about Max and Aurelius kind of got into it? And I was like, what? No, they were playing so good. She goes, no, not like that. Like they got into like a little Sal and Adam argument. And I was like, what do you mean?
No way.
I said, what do you mean Sal? She goes, Jessica and I were cracking up because it was just like, oh my God, this is like their fathers right now.
No.
So, come to find out, obviously Aurelius is hardcore into dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Max has been into dinosaurs for a long time. And Aurelius is getting frustrated with Max because Max is trying to say that dinosaurs are not extinct. And Aurelius is like grabbing Jessica and like, Mommy, tell him that dinosaurs are extinct. And Max is like, well, no, they came from birds, and we still have birds.
Oh,
yes. And so Jessica's trying to explain to Aurelius that, like, well, you're both kind of right, like that.
Oh, no.
Aurelius is getting pissed. You know what I'm saying? Max is telling Katrina, Mom, tell him that. So both are going to their moms, trying to get their moms to agree with them that dinosaurs are still around and dinosaurs are extinct, and listening to them kind of debate back and forth.
Great,
oh yeah, it was hilarious. I was like, I'm so mad that I missed that. She goes, yeah, no, they were totally, but you could tell they were both getting frustrated because
They just started a podcast.
Yeah, because Jessica and I wouldn't, conform to either one. They were both kind of right, and neither one of them wanted to settle for both of them being right.
Still Nessie. Yeah.
So Justin brings
well, I know that. So Max brings up. Max is like, what? He's like trying to explain to. And he's been asking me about this is a lizard, a iguana, or whatever that has the thing that opens up and it's like a descendant from dinosaurs and like. And I can't think that he's been actually
asking one.
Yes. He's been asking me the name of that reptile or whatever kind of lizard that is, right?
Right.
And I haven't been able to remember the name, and so he's bringing that up too, just like, but Mommy, what about the? Is he doing the whole thing? This one's still alive, and so
Gila monster. Yeah, you can make an argument.
Yeah. What is it? What is that? Can you look that? Yeah,
that's actually. I bought my son a toy that has the one from Jurassic Park where things come out and it spits.
That's the
poison.
one. That's the one.
So funny.
And so yeah.
Well, you know what's cute about those two? So they have something in common where like my son will play with other kids, but if the other kid's kind of a jerk, my son doesn't want to play with him.
Yeah.
And your kid's like that too.
Very much
like,
so.
Like fine, I'm not going to play with you.
Yeah.
So they're both like they both like to play and share and do it. So
Yeah.
the two of them got along great.
Yeah.
But watching them, they saw each other. They haven't seen each other in a while. And then 10 minutes later, they're holding hands, running around like, come over here, come over there, play. And I'm like, I started laughing because I was with the guys and they saw them, Aurelius grabs Max's hand and they're holding hands running down. And we're laughing, and I'm like, that's what I do with Adam. Him and I, we hold hands all the time.
Well, at one point,
into
the difference of the two of them, which was really interesting to see happen, was, there it is. What's it called so I don't forget?
Frill neck lizard.
Okay, send it to me so I can make sure I show my son because I know he's been bugging me like crazy with that. So here's the difference of our kids. At one point, the boys, our staff, when I'm referring to the boys, they were playing ping pong.
Oh, yeah.
And Aurelius was just like drawn to it right away. Came over and wanted to play, and they were playing with it. And Max was just like so sad. He went up to Katrina and was just like, "Mommy, I'm so sad. Aurelius doesn't want to play with me anymore." And Katrina looks over, "Well, son, he wants to play ping pong." "I know, I'm so sad. He doesn't want to play with me anymore." "Well, you should go play ping pong with him." "No, that's okay." And she's like, "Well, you have to understand that he doesn't have a ping pong table at his house, and so of course he wants to." "Well, Mommy, can we buy him a ping pong table so he'll play with me?"
Yeah.
Like, no, it doesn't work that way, son. We don't we don't do that.
Dude, speaking of kids, my daughter, my 2.5-year-old, I don't know, she hit this like gangster stage. She's like pushing kids down and like, I had my friend over, and it's that age, where they get kind of possessive over toys and stuff. And my buddy's little girl, my daughter has a bunny that she goes to bed with, and it's like if we lose that, she's not going to bed. So we have backups of this, which, by the way, it's funny. We lost the original one.
Yeah.
So my wife went and got the backup one. And my daughter looks at it and goes, "Huh?" And my wife's like, "Oh, she took a bath." And she's like, because it's all clean and brand new. So I told Jessica, I said, we got to trade them out often so they both wear and tear, because it's not going to work pretty soon. But anyway, this little girl runs up to my daughter to grab the bunny, and my daughter's like, "My bunny," pushes her down. I'm like, "Uh-oh, here we go." And she's been doing this, dude. She's been doing this thing, like, and even with her brother. Like yesterday, he was drinking out of my wife's cup, and she wanted some, and he's like, "I'm not done." And she just blasted him in the face, and he's like losing it. He's like, "Oh," and we had to go over there and separate him. I'm like, what do we say to her?
Oh my
She just
gosh.
became a little gangster all of a sudden.
It almost seems like anytime. I mean, Katrina will tell you her stories too. Like when you're the younger girl and you have an older brother or brothers, like you tend to be kind of like you have to. I feel like you to be able to hang with the boys and rough and tumble. But it's kind of funny because a lot of times the girl ends up being more of the bully.
Yeah.
Like overcompensates.
Yeah, she like
a bit.
overcompensates. Like it's kind of crazy how you see that happen. My buddies, we're trying to. The newest thing right now is teaching Max to like put things away and kind of start to do chores, taking care of his room and stuff like that. And it's been cute, like getting up and seeing that, because they go off to school before I leave the house most days. And coming in and seeing his bed all made, and try not to make like a huge deal about it. Just like, "Hey, saw you made your bed. Good job, dude." And been putting his toothbrush away and this stuff. And so the other day, he didn't make his bed, and we're picking him up from school. Katrina's mentioning it. She's like, "Hey, I noticed you didn't make your bed today." And he goes, "Yeah, my legs were tired." What? Your legs were tired. Your legs were tired.
That's a good one.
What kind of like excuse is that, dude? Just, when he does shit like that, dude, I can't help myself. I like die laughing at him. You walked to school fine. You played all day in the sandbox all fine, but your legs were too tired to make the bed this morning.
Sleepy.
Oh my god, dude,
That's
funny.
great. Hey, I gotta tell you, I talked to your sister the other day. She's having some gut health.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask you. Sorry to interrupt you, but I've been wanting to ask you this anyways. You recommended to her the BPC 157 with the KPV pills
Capsule. Yeah.
for gut.
For gut repair and inflammation. It's like, game changer. So I use it, and so what BPC and KPV will do is it'll reduce inflammation. It'll also accelerate the healing of the gut, the healing of the lining, the mucosa lining.
Oh, that's the BPC side.
Both.
Oh, really?
Both of them do that. Yeah, and they both also have antimicrobial, but KPV in particular, antimicrobial properties, so it'll help with any bacterial overgrowth. But so the research on KPV, for example, is for things like ulcerative colitis, for Crohn's disease, for those kinds of gut issues. But they put it in a capsule together.
So does it stop overgrowth? Does it eliminate it? Like, what's it?
It is not a SIBO treatment.
Okay.
But it will help. But what it primarily does is when you have like leaky gut syndrome, right? So this is when your gut is constantly inflamed from whatever. The junctions between the cells in the gut start to open because the gut becomes inflamed. But what happens is food passes through when it shouldn't, and you start to develop kind of autoimmune issues or reactions to certain foods, or you just don't feel good. It heals that, reduces inflammation, and it heals the gut. And it, again, the mucosal lining of the gut, which is protective, starts to rebuild. So it's a longer process, but when you take the BPC and the KPV capsules, what you find after 30, 60 days or so is like, well, man, I can eat things I couldn't eat before, and I feel way better. So just talking to her and all the treatments she's going through,
yeah,
I thought this would be
that's good to know too, because I got those, and what I didn't do was take it consistently.
Yep.
So it's actually one of those things that you have to.
Of course.
See, I always got to ask you this. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's certain things
Take
like
it every day.
There's like things like BPC 157 that I can inject and I know right away.
That's direct to an injury.
Yeah, right away I can feel the improvement. Then there's other things I feel like that you're like you need to build it up. You need to be consistent with it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So I never gave that a run.
Yeah,
myself.
and our partners at mphormones.com, that's like one of their top sellers for gut health, like by far. They always tell me, that it totally crushes.
She was actually just asking me about that, if I got that over to her.
I want to know about Justin. You came in, you were super angry, talking about your weekend with some kid messing with you. Are we going to talk about him or what?
A little frustrated. Yeah. Well, because I was so proud of my son. My oldest was competing for gymnastics, and we held our own competition for nationals at the arena there in Santa Cruz, the Santa Cruz Warriors Arena.
And he qualified for nationals, right?
He qualified. So he got first place for both of the events he competed in, except
bro, that's crazy. He's so good.
Yeah,
you have to be really good to do that.
Yeah, and it's been hard for him because he's like 1 foot out in his. We've really had to coach him up and try to get his mindset back into it just to like finish strong, because he's kind of like wants to explore other sports and all this stuff, but like his coach sees a lot in him and is like really trying to fight for him to like, and he's really good at it, and so we're kind of in a pickle with it, because I know he wants to do something else, but at the same time I'm like, dude, you're really good at this. I don't know if it's really the move to stop what you're doing. And so I don't know, he's just been a lot more disciplined and focused, and he hit nationals. And so he shows up and he just crushes it. And what gets me frustrated is like, I'm pumped and I'm like, man, I'm so proud. And then I find out later they go to do the awards, and so Courtney's there. She had to do a lot of volunteering because we're hosting. And so she had to do a lot of, all the announcing and putting all the paperwork together for all the athletes and all this kind of stuff. And so she put it together and like has Ethan as like, the first place. But this other kid he's like, no, I'm first place. She's like, what are you talking about? You're first place. And because that same competition, there's different heats, or I don't know what you call it, but there's different times of the day where other athletes kind of compete at that same event. And this kid was older. He's like almost 19 years old. He's like 18, big kid, pretty much a grown ass adult. And he's a level like a junior, or I forget what they call junior elite, I think is what they call him. But like, he's like 3 levels above Ethan, right? So this fucking kid, okay, he competes every level down below him just so he can sandbag points, so he can get into nationals with a higher point percentage.
There's another.
Wait, you're allowed to do that?
No, there's another sport.
This is why I was like, you can't do that.
There's another sport you could do shit like that too. What sport is that?
It's so dirty. So it's like it's the equivalent of like me.
Wait, that shit. Hold on.
Me competing, at my age range,
like
and then going 3 years below me and dominating these younger kids.
Wait, is it different levels of age, or also different levels of experience, or how is it?
Age and experience.
So that'd be like a black belt in jiu-jitsu entering the blue belt division.
Yes.
And getting first
There's
place.
other sports that do this bullshit.
Why would they allow that?
Exactly. And so we were talking to coach about that, and he's like, apparently it's legal, but like, and not a lot of gyms do it, but this is one of those things where it's like it's his integrity thing.
Right.
So this coach that let him do that, I'm gonna blast this coach for like you have no fucking integrity.
Wow.
It's just it like who does that? Who feels good about that?
Yeah.
Now, and here's the thing, like, yeah, it's not a big deal, but you just took a trophy that my kid worked really hard to get.
Yeah.
And just right away from him. And so, but
how did
anyway,
your son feel about it?
he was pissed.
Oh, I'm sure
he was absolutely livid, dude. And I get it. Like, who does that?
Yeah, it sucks.
That's weird.
Is there another pathway? Like, okay, so this older kid who did not belong competing at any of those levels, trying to get points so he can go to his national thing too. What is there another pathway for him that he could have done? Or
he could have competed more events at his age range.
But instead, he took the easy route because he can. Because he can.
All
I have to do is hurry up, get my. There's another sport that does this, and it drives me crazy until I figure this out because we've had my buddies and I have talked about this.
Dude.
It's what's interesting to me is that he'll go to nationals and just lose if nobody else did that. He's going to suck because he got there through essentially cheating.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
a cheat. And
you know what that reminds me of?
I can't believe it's legal, dude. It really pisses me off.
That reminds me, when I was a kid, I competed in judo, okay? And sometimes your pool was so small that there were only 2 or 3 people in your pool.
Yeah.
So if you got last place, you got a third place. So you got your ass kicked by everybody in your pool, but you get a third place trophy. Or a second place trophy.
Yeah.
And I remember like that happened once to me. I got second place out of 3 people, and I remember being like, throw it away.
Yeah. It doesn't
Cool.
really mean
I beat
much.
one guy, I lost to one guy.
There's
second place.
Bodybuilding can do some of this stuff too, where you like, let's say, especially now at the age I am now, let's say I went to go compete again. And I want to compete against everybody, or I want to go to try and get into Olympia or whatever. And I'm getting my ass kicked by basically everybody else. I can enter into Masters in the same show, go into Masters because I'm older, and then now I'm competing against just those guys. And then now,
but at least you're competing against guys your age.
I know I'm not going, but if
you're not going, it's not.
It's still frowned upon because if I've already won trophies and I've already reached a level, it's kind of like going down a level.
Yeah, but it's not like doing like at least that's your age though. Like it would be like a pro bodybuilder competing an amateur to win, so we could say I won first place.
Pretty much had a beard. Like I'm not even joking, you guys. He's like jacked, dude. It's just like, when I saw the picture of him staying next to my son, I was just like, I was
not
like,
fair.
What?
Yeah.
So does this mean your kid can't go to nationals then?
No, he still goes to nationals.
Okay,
he just didn't.
He just
get
lost the trophy.
Yeah, he lost first place.
And that's probably why they make it like, they can do it, because it's like it's not like he robbed his trip to nationals, but he doesn't get a trophy there.
Yeah.
It's going to drive me crazy.
Yeah.
And I know someone listening to the podcast right now.
It's just frustrating.
I know someone listening to the podcast right now knows that there's another sport that does this, because we've debated this before. My buddies and I are like, that's so unfair that they can do that. But there's other sports that allow this shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Where they can do that.
Dude, speaking of sports, did you know there's a new competition that they filmed, and I saw a clip of it on Instagram. Do you know what there's a new competition they're doing? You know what they're doing?
Is it a brutal one?
No. It's sperm racing.
What?
Doug, look up sperm race.
Oh, great.
Keep your keep your filters on.
Yeah, why does it say welcome back?
Literally,
how do we sign up?
Literally, it's under like a microscope, and they're racing sperm to see whose sperm wins in the race.
Okay.
Now wait a second here, because
so you got vials.
Once they're out, they die pretty quick. So how do we get them racing each other in live? Right?
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
It's got to be
they only
be in like a warm.
They only
vessel.
survive for so long.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't even.
What are they racing in?
Yeah. Yes. And do we have to get it out together to get it so they can actually compete?
Yeah.
Right.
Are they at the same time?
Yeah.
And
all right, next up, Adam and Justin going to competition. You have 15 minutes to prepare yourself for the sperm race. No, there was a clip on Instagram. I should send it to Doug, because I'm having
there's a competition.
And I guarantee you some
there's
crazy
a lot of
shit.
details that I need from this.
Did you find it?
I did find it.
Oh, okay. It's coming in all weird there.
How they evaluate it.
Called the sperm race, and is young men putting their manhood to the test to see how fast their swimmers can go. Mysterious white stuff. Shooting from a water gun made this moment borderline raunchy. The 17-year-old Bay Area high school student and entrepreneur launching this epic competition to raise awareness on male fertility health.
The general public doesn't talk about it because it's so taboo. It's always been associated with adult entertainment or something that's degenerate. What we want to do is we want to make it more of like a sport or a different type of entertainment, but more of like optimizing biomarkers.
Yeah, dude, I'm like, what are we doing? Like,
I don't know. Apparently,
no, that's not it.
Mass casualty?
No, that's it.
Whoa, what happened?
No, it says the world's first sperm race goes off with a bang in LA. That's their headline. Yeah.
Getting cute with the titles here.
Yeah. No, so they're watching it and trying to see who wins.
Caldera Lab aggressively advertising all over your page there, man. They're everywhere.
I mean,
not even a commercial for them.
I know. Is this like thoroughbred status? Like if you're the guy that always has the fastest, like you'd be like sought after.
I don't know, but I kind of feel like it's kind of interesting bragging rights, right? Like you imagine if
it is kind of.
You just tell you, hey,
I'm just thinking of selling it at that point.
Nationally,
right? Like, hey man, I'm a champion.
My sperm's nationally recognized.
I got really fast sperm. You know what I'm saying? Really, really fast.
Guaranteed.
I feel like my sperm would beat you guys for sure. Considering how easily
so random.
Yeah, all right, Doug.
Doug's trapped now.
Yeah,
there you go. Hey, I want you. Maybe Sal, you can Google because if I have Doug do it, it could take till next week. I'm gonna have you Google up vitamin C. Someone, one of the fans heard me talking about chlorine and what it does to my skin. Said that if I rub vitamin C on my skin before I go in, it neutralizes the chlorine.
I've never heard.
Do your Google magic and tell me. That's because before I look like an idiot and try it.
My youngest, he gets skin rash, and so that would be interesting if that worked.
Yeah.
So it's vitamin C cream. It's like a lotion.
It's like a spray, so you could.
How to minimize? Oh, well, there you go.
Just do vitamin C.
No, I found it.
Okay.
Yeah, how to minimize it. Vitamin C neutralizes chlorine and other chloramines. Vitamin C or absorbic acid is a powerful antioxidant that can neutralize chlorine. That can neutralize chlorine and chloramines effectively. When applied topically, vitamin C converts chlorine and chloramines on the skin into the harmless compounds hydrochloric acid and dihydroascorbic acid. Oh, yeah, no, it's real.
I'm totally going to do that.
So you can, oh, wow, look at this. You can make your own.
So that's what she said. She goes, I can either buy it or make my own.
1 cup of distilled water.
Try this, dude.
Can you send that link to me, please?
So 1 cup of distilled water, 1 teaspoon of ascorbic acid powder, and you put it in a spray bottle. And then you.
Can you send that to me?
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, send me the link to that. I'm going to try that.
Yeah,
because I tell you, that's the one thing that keeps me.
It messes you up.
Yeah, I mean, I love having a hot tub and pool and everything like that, but I'll only get in it so much because it just gets exhausting. I have to really do a thorough job after swimming of like really scrubbing my skin, or it just dries me out.
I got to ask you this: you've used the Luminous on your skin after getting sunburn in Mexico.
Yep.
Have you been using it more on areas of like psoriasis?
Yeah. Oh, I love it for that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
Yeah, because the GHKCU in there is supposed to be amazing for that.
It is. It is. And we've worked with a couple different companies that have that product. They have the best, like as far as, I don't know if it's the potency or what they mix it with.
It's a high amount.
Concentrate.
Yeah, because I've probably done, I think with all of our contacts with peptides and all stuff, that I've used like 3 or 4 different of the creams. The Luminous ones, though, whatever they're mixing it with or whatever,
it's a high dose of GHKC.
I can tell. I can feel. They all work and they're all positive, but that one is like.
There are lots of good. There's good skincare products that are out there, but this is like. I mean, this is like steroids versus creatine. The creatine works. Can't compare to steroids. You put this on your face within 2 applications, you could tell. Literally, my wife has some, so we have it at home. Her friends will come over.
Yeah.
She'll have them put it on. And then they'll put it on again later. And then all of them are like, what?
Oh, I think you can tell right away.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you can tell right away.
Yeah.
No, but for my psoriasis, it's been amazing. I mean, it's been years now. After we got it, first it was Caldera. I used to use Caldera a lot. I still do use both those. I toggle back and forth all the time, but they're just.
But this is a peptide. This isn't just like.
Yeah, it's stronger. Yeah, no, it's way better for that. Especially if going back to the pool point, like. My skin gets dried out. It just exacerbates that. So if using that afterwards is like a mandatory. So I'm really excited. The vitamin C. I had never heard that before.
Yeah,
never heard that.
Yeah, that's really cool.
It makes sense.
No, I'm totally going to do that.
You can drink alcohol and enjoy the next day. You just got to use the pre-alcohol supplement Z-Biotics. So this is a probiotic that's been genetically modified to break down acetaldehyde. This is the negative byproduct of alcohol consumption. Breaks it down in the gut. So you take Z-Biotics, then you go drink, and then guess what? You feel way better the next day. Go check them out. Go to zbiotics.com. That's zbiotics.com/mindpump25. Use the code mindpump25 and get a massive discount. Back to the show. This segment of the podcast is brought to you by Mind Pump Fitness Coaching. This is the #1 course that teaches trainers and coaches how to build sustainable 6-figure plus businesses and careers in fitness. Look, it's roundtable based, so you can hear Adam, Justin, and myself teaching you how to build a better business, get more leads, close more deals, close bigger deals, and be more effective trainers. By the way, our course is nationally recognized. In fact, it gives you 1.9 CEUs with or for your NASM certification. Find out more at mindpumpfitnesscoaching.com.
Our first caller is Kenny from Florida.
What's up, Kenny?
How you doing, Kenny?
What's happening?
Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going? Thanks
Good.
for having me on. Really appreciate the opportunity.
You got it, man. How can we help you?
So my background, I'm 31 years old, 5'9", 190 pounds. I'm a father of 2 boys, a 2.5-year-old and an 11-month-old. I'm a former college baseball player, and fitness has always been a pretty big part of my life. So I've been weight training pretty consistently for the last 15 years. My father passed away when I was a senior in high school at the age of 39 due to cardiac arrest. My primary motivation now is to be the best and healthiest father and husband I can be, and ensure I'm doing everything in my control to make sure that doesn't happen to my kids. In 2020, when gyms were closed, I got away from weight training and started running a lot and really began to like it. I wanted to do one hard thing each year, so I ran my first marathon in 2021, did an Olympic triathlon in 2022, and then another marathon in 2023. But after that, I was physically and mentally drained, so I knew I wanted to take a break from running. Shortly afterwards, I found your podcast, and listening to your show confirmed what I was already feeling, that I needed to stop running and get back in the gym. So I've been working out 3 times per week ever since, primarily consisting of resistance training. I've completed MAPS Anabolic, MAPS Performance, and I'm currently in phase 3 of MAPS Aesthetic. I feel much better now and have not carried this much muscle since I was in college over 10 years ago. However, I've pretty much completely ignored cardio for the last 2 years, and I know that it can have a positive effect on my heart health, which is very important to me considering my family history. So my question is, with a goal of overall health and longevity, how could I implement cardio into MAPS fitness programming without overtraining?
Yeah, good question.
Love it.
Now, why are you asking about the overtrain? Do you feel like you're reaching a limit right now? Do you feel like you're kind of,
No,
teetering?
I feel great right now. I feel just like historically, that's like my tendency being a college athlete. Like if I ever did take a break from training, when I jump back into it, I just have a tendency to overdo it. And like, okay, I'm about to puke. I should stop.
Good awareness.
Take a break. And I don't know, I hear you guys talk about overtraining a lot. So I don't want to just like, okay, let's run a mile before I do this, MAPS aesthetic program and then not see the results that I'm currently seeing.
Got it.
What
Okay.
MAPS program are you running? Aesthetic right now? Is that what you're on? Aesthetic?
Yeah, I'm in phase 3 of aesthetic. Yeah.
Okay. There's a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
mean,
volume there.
so someone like, if you feel good, right, you got good sleep, you feel good recovery, no issues, otherwise no like nagging joint pains.
I feel great.
Someone like you with your genetics, right? So you played college baseball, you've competed in some pretty high level endurance events. You probably have a higher capacity for workouts than most people. Even though you're a father, I don't think it's probably like when you were in college, you're still pretty good. A real easy way to reap the benefits of cardiovascular training would be to do HIIT style cardio. So, like 12, 15 minute HIIT sessions a couple days a week will give you a lot of the benefits. And then on top of that, just moving, just staying active throughout the day. So making sure you get your 10,000 steps a day. And that covers the bases when it comes to the exercise portion of health and longevity. The rest comes from diet, sleep, lifestyle, that kind of stuff, relationships and that kind of stuff.
12 minutes hit post foundation days is perfect. That's what I would do. If that, listening to what your goals are, what you're already currently doing, right after you finish your lifting, go over and, you know, mess with the different modalities. If you want to do Stairmaster one day, treadmill another day, elliptical, rower, whatever. But do these 12-minute hits. And the way that programming looks is like I go all out for the 10 seconds as hard as I can, and then I let my heart rate come back down. Could take me 45 seconds, could take me a minute and a half, doesn't matter, until I feel I've caught my breath and my heart rate comes back. Then I sprint it again, do it again, and you just do that for 12, 15 minutes at the end of your foundational days. Yeah. That will do a ton for you, just that alone. And then maybe on your focus days, you could have maybe like a little bit longer run that's like more moderate intensity, maybe a mile or two. I mean, before those days, that's going to be plenty, dude.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that sounds good. I just, like I said, I didn't want to, jump back into it and then be a detriment to, all the strength gains that I've seen running these programs.
It's good. It's good awareness, and you are following probably one of the highest volume programs we have, Aesthetic. So if there was a program, I'd say be careful of that. It would be that. There's a lot in that, and so if all of a sudden you started having 3 days of like long runs, it would be too intense probably for that.
And also remember, consider this: like there's performance adds to longevity to a point. Okay, so when you go into extreme performance, you start to sacrifice longevity. Now, I'm not comparing extreme performance to the typical American who doesn't exercise at all and eats garbage. But I'm using the context of how do I maximize longevity and how do I maximize performance. So what I mean by that is, there is a balance that adds to longevity. When you start to push for extreme performance, then you start to sacrifice longevity. And so what you see is, for example, top level athletes, their longevity is not better than somebody who exercises in a balanced way. It's actually worse. Mm-hmm. And in some cases, it's as bad as a typical, the average American. Football players would be an example of this, for example. But it has to do with the nature of the sport. So remember that as well. So because of your background in athletics, the only reason why I'm telling you this is if longevity is really the key, you're going to see performance gains, but you'll sacrifice longevity. You just keep hammering performance to get faster, more stamina, stronger if you keep pushing that button all the time.
Yeah, it's really just, at that point, adjusting your intensity as you're going through that, because, retaining the skill of athleticism and multiplanar movement and, being able to recognize positions, like that's really where if you're trying to maintain and keep that type of athletic feel and ability, mobility is going to be your best friend. And that's really to just stay connected and stay able to recruit within those long ranges. And that's going to carry you so much further than trying to just, hammer your body for stamina.
Yeah. I think I'm done with the long races for sure. I like where I'm at right now a lot, and I still do like adult rec sports and stuff too. So
you're good.
Oh, you're good, dude.
You're perfect, especially if you're doing that.
Are you doing that right now?
Well, basketball just ended, so I mean that was definitely cardio. But like beer league softball and stuff, that doesn't really count for cardio.
Dude, that's the best.
But yeah, basketball, I was not doing anything else.
That's fine. Yeah, you're fine. If you're doing that, that's your cardio right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're doing good, bro. You're doing
good.
Yeah, man.
Good, man.
Right on, Kenny.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Yep. Take it easy. I think I'm glad he said that at the end. Like playing is the best for health.
Yeah.
It's going to take you the furthest.
You get the community
you enjoy it.
Especially if he intermittently does this. I love, you have a season of basketball that's over at rec league, and that's all you're primarily doing. Then you get out of that, then you go into a MAPS program. Yeah. If he does that, he kind of undulates that throughout the year.
He's fine.
He doesn't even need to schedule cardio. That'll keep him plenty healthy.
It does crack me up though that a college baseball player will go and play beer softball. I hate those guys. You know what I mean? They're playing with them.
He's just cranking
all of a sudden
it
just
out.
crushing. Like, what is happening here?
Have I told that story on here? Have I told that story on here before? I know I've told you guys.
You signed up for like a...
We signed the short story.
We call it the hustler, like the pool shark guy.
So my buddies and I, the first time we did this, it was here in the Bay Area. Now I come from small town, right? So, in our small town, we're pretty good athletes. You know what I'm saying? But now I'm in the Bay Area. Him and I, we sign up for a thing. We get all of our buddies together, and we're all ex-athletes. Couple guys play baseball. Most of us were basketball players, stuff like that. And I have no idea how this thing works. It's like the rankings, right?
Yeah.
You know, are you A? Are you B? Are you C? D's like the lowest or whatever. And so we put ourselves like in C. We're like, let's go in C and feel it out first.
Let's dominate.
No. That's not what we said at all. We said, hey, listen, this is literally the conversation. We all get together for it. Listen, don't like ease into it. Don't go all out. Let's kind of feel this because we don't want to stand out like we put ourselves in a lower. We don't want to stand out like we put ourselves in a lower.
We want to be undercover
just so we could win. So we like literally told everybody dump play, bro. First inning, we're down like 13-0. I remember like getting everybody, hey, we can fucking play now. Let's go. Everyone's like, I am. Like,
okay, try.
Yes, dude. And you got like the whole league is like a bunch of guys.
They all had the same idea.
Oh, like literally one of the teams we played was literally the junior college team. They were off season. This is what they all got together and did, and we were just getting hammered.
That's funny, dude.
Hammered. We didn't win a game the whole entire fucking season. That's how terrible we were and how good everybody else was. I'll never forget that.
Our next caller is Myra from Colorado.
Hi, Myra.
Hi, Myra.
How can we help you?
Good morning.
Hi, gentlemen. Thanks for having me on today. I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, awesome. How can we help you?
So I have a really poor connection with my glutes as a result of a trauma. It's a trauma response. Really, the only time that I can feel them engaged is when I'm using the hip thrust machine and doing thrusts. Even holding like an isometric bridge, not so much. And squats are definitely out of the picture. I have started throwing in ass to grass squats, which has been slightly helpful, but really not as much as I was hoping.
Okay. Is this physiological or psychological trauma response?
Both.
Okay. So acupuncture, have you tried acupuncture?
I have not.
Okay, that might help. That might help you feel what you're looking for. So so the question is it worth trying to connect or train them because you can't? What's the question?
So my question is, would it be more beneficial to run a bulk to try and build that muscle or continue to focus on feeling that connection first?
Both at the same time. Yeah, both. Yeah, do both at the same time. Also, we talk a lot about trying to feel the muscle and connect to the muscle, and it is important. I will say this, it's not necessary.
It's like phase one.
It's actually not necessary. Okay.
Because it's impossible not to. If you do a floor bridge, your ass is working. Just plain stuff. It's also, even if you can't feel it, it's getting it is getting work.
Yeah, and in fact, it's so funny this is your question. I just read a study yesterday where they were looking at EMG results from exercise. So what this is measuring is muscle contraction or connection in an exercise, and they were comparing it to the subjective assessment of the person doing the exercise. So the person doing the exercise, like, I feel this a lot here, then they would check the EMG. You know what they found? They were not really correlated, okay? For example, men oftentimes don't feel their glutes doing a squat, but we know the glutes are definitely working. We know that for a fact. So it's not necessary. Now, I'm recommending acupuncture, however, because yours is the result of something that happened. And acupuncture, in my experience with what you're saying, I actually have anecdotal experience with clients with situations where they couldn't feel a part of their body for certain reasons. The acupuncture actually made the difference. Yeah.
Thank you. I will try that.
Yes. Now, are you following any of our programs, Myra?
I have ran anabolic twice, and so I'm kind of going through it a third time, but I've tweaked it to go over 3 days, and then I've kind of added some more back exercises because those are my favorite.
Cool. Can we send you a program?
Muscle Mommy would be great for
us,
especially if you like adding back exercises.
Yeah, let's give you Muscle Mommy.
Oh, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
You got it. So follow that one after you're done.
Okay. Sounds great.
Yeah, thanks for calling in.
Thank you so much.
All right, bye-bye. Yeah, I actually had clients use acupuncture.
I'll break down and cry sometimes after something like that.
Well, I had a client who had some trauma as a kid, and as a result, didn't feel anything from her belly button down to her like thighs. Like It was almost like she just couldn't
disconnected from that.
Yeah, now she had neurological connection. So everything worked.
Yeah, but mentally disconnected.
Just couldn't.
Because of the trauma.
Just couldn't feel it.
Yeah.
And the acupuncture brought back the feeling. Now, I don't know how you would explain that from a Western medicine standpoint. I know what they would say in Chinese medicine. But I've also had acupuncture work for clients who had physiological disconnection. So I had a woman who injured her back, and one of her rhomboids, she just couldn't connect to it, and it didn't get back 100%, but it was significantly better.
Yeah.
From so what she would do is she would get acupuncture, then she would train with me.
So yeah, don't they target it so it like kind of goes cross body, like in terms of the like how do they? I don't know, dude. Explain a little bit of it because I'm totally unaware.
I don't know that so acupuncture uses Chinese medicine explanations, so like the meridians energy flow and the chi. Yeah. If I had to guess, I would have to say I would guess it has to do with the nervous system.
Yeah.
And the needles going in, through thousands of years of them practicing, they figured out how to get the nervous system to react in a particular way. So, yeah.
Is it the same thing that's going on when when you have trauma when you're a kid or whatever like that, and a period of time in your life, and you have no memory and you can't recall because you've blacked it out, right? Like there's years.
That's a great speculation, Adam.
Yeah.
I didn't even put that together.
Yeah.
I would think so. Your body literally is making you forget.
Yeah.
That's a great speculation.
So I would think it's similar to that.
Probably.
Where it's just like something bad. Like there's periods in my life where you ask me and I can recall something before.
Yeah, you just jump right past
But
it.
the body's protecting you.
Yeah.
Your
Because
brain,
obviously there's stuff there, right, that you don't want to do. And so your brain's like, okay, we don't need to remember that. I would think that's the same thing.
That's the weird part because you think some of that, is stored in the body.
Sure.
Too, like the memory of it. Yeah.
Sometimes, by the way, it's the opposite. So people have pain that just doesn't go away. Then they'll do like intensive therapy and the pain gone,
Yeah.
And they had, MRIs and everything, couldn't figure out what the hell this pain was coming from. Yeah. It's very, very, very complex. But
our next caller is Dylan from Virginia.
What's up, Dylan?
What's happening,
Dylan? Finally get to meet you, man. Other than Instagram DMs.
Meet y'all as well.
Yeah. Right on, man.
How can we help you?
So I'll start off with the subliminal, beginning everyone does. I found y'all 6 years ago. Actually, when I first got married, y'all, through your advice, helped me to go from 180 pounds at 6'3" to 230 pounds at 12% body fat. I got to be a personal trainer. I actually work at the fire department, so I'm working towards getting on the fitness committee as well. Helped a lot of the guys, my peers and stuff, lose a bunch of weight, gain a lot of muscle, and even through low sleep and all the stuff and the stress that goes with the fire department, I was still able to get a PR of 500-pound deadlift and 450 squat.
Nice.
So that was all to y'all's information. So I appreciate that.
Oh yeah,
dude.
Crush it.
So my main question is actually towards Adam today. And even though I know that y'all, obviously it's a fitness podcast, I know that y'all deal with a lot of life stuff. And right now in my life, I'm working towards, I love the fire department. I know Adam's talked a lot about, he's big into business and everything. And I know that he has talked a lot about that he, with his passion for fitness and stuff. I'm kind of looking to see some direction on your thoughts on, I'm looking to gain some financial goals, but the fire department isn't a super big financial provider. So where do you draw the line of turning down some big private sector opportunities for something that you love, like y'all with fitness, not being the best paying all the time? So I'm kind of looking for some direction on where do you draw that line of doing what you're passionate about versus big financial opportunities in the private sector.
When it's 10 o'clock at night and you're on your phone and you're not supposed to be, what are you looking up? What are you researching? What are you doing?
Normally it has to do with business with the fire department mainly.
Oh, okay. So it's
trying to get better at the job.
It's not okay. Well, then you're somebody who applies yourself. I thought maybe you'd be doing things related to the real estate, the houses, construction, stuff like that.
No, I do. It's kind of I have a little bit of an issue where thankfully I have a lot of opportunity in my life, and from time to time I feel I skip a lot, to where it's I see this opportunity, I'm like, oh man, that's a great opportunity, let me jump on that. But then I'm into that a little bit, and then I see something else, I'm like, oh dude, that's a great opportunity too. So it's I find myself floating a lot because I get excited about the opportunity without and sometimes it's hard for me to fully engage in something because I'm always seeing the opportunities, and it's hard for me to just dial into one at times.
Yeah. I mean, my advice, because I think even though you may not think the firefighter thing has big potential, I mean, you get up to be a fire chief and can make some really good money doing something like that, and an incredible retirement. So if you were passionate about that, that's the thing that you're sitting up at night looking into and reading, then maybe I lean to. I'm going to lean into the thing that I find myself doing when I'm not getting paid. When I have downtime, I'm researching, I'm reading about, because I'm obviously into it. And so leaning into that is going to end up, no matter what the kind of, and like the firefighter thing, you might have like this dollar amount, like, oh, I can only make this much. Like, I don't know if that's the right way to look at it. I think it's more like, what are the things that you're most passionate about, and then leaning into that. You know, I know that if you've been listening for this long, you know my story of being in the cannabis industry, and you know, at that point in my life, I was chasing a dollar amount, and I reached that, past that, and realized how unhappy I was. Now, temporarily, I was happy for the year and a half of spending the money and kind of filling this hole that I had to make myself feel better. And then I just woke up one day and realized, like, okay, cool, I checked that box. I'm actually not really happy. What is the stuff I'm into? And it's like, man, fitness, but there's no money in that. There's no, I could see the cap on that. I knew what the two positions above me were going to be and making. I'm like, I want to make more than that. And so, but I thought, well, who cares? I already did the money thing. So why don't I go back to doing what I love? Now, the irony is I found a way to make more money than I ever made doing the other stuff, doing what I love to do. And I think that's the moral of the story here is you got all these things that, and I can tell by the way you approach fitness, by the way you approach real estate, even the way you're approaching firefighter, like you're the type of guy that if you put your mind to something, you're going to be successful. And sometimes guys like us, what you actually need is that little bit of pressure of, I have to make this thing work. I'm going to go all in on this thing, and I'm going to cut this other stuff out, and I'm just going to focus on this because that's the only way I'm going to eat. And people like you tend to rise to the occasion. Now, it's scary to initially let go of the other things that are consistent and are paying you, but you're also not the type of person to lay down. You're not the type of person who's going to like, oh, the first hurdle that you have, you're going to give up, or if you trip and fall, you're going to quit. You're the type of person, and if you know that about yourself, then don't be afraid to put yourself in that situation. Don't be afraid to back yourself in a corner, because the best version of you probably comes out in that situation. And if you're the type of guy who's always got like all these things cooking, and you can get complacent with that. Like, oh, I'm good. I'm making a nice living. I'm not starving. I can get the stuff I want, but I'm also not thriving. I'm also not doing the thing I love the most all the time. And so find a way to put yourself in that situation, even if it's scary, because the best version of you will most likely come out. And I felt that with these guys when we first started. Like, there was never a doubt in my mind that we would figure out. I had no idea what it was going to be, how it would manifest, like the way I had no idea the financial side of this was going to pan out. But what I did know is I loved doing it, and I had partnered up with other guys that had the same attitude of, we got to win, and at all costs we'll figure it out.
Yeah. So what did you do? So I fully understand that. That's the exact thing. One of the reasons why I'm asking the question, because exactly what you said is what I'm feeling. And like me and my wife just moved into a new house. So now it's like, we've risen to this other level now. So now it's like even more so on a financial aspect. Like I have a goal of, I would love to pay the house down. So in the case that anything ever happened to me, like I know my wife and kid are taken care of, and they don't have to worry about that burden. So in those moments, I'm curious, in those moments where you were taking that leap, was there anything that helped you be okay with the risk that you were taking on that?
That's the crazy confidence I have in myself. I just know, like, I mean, and you've heard, if you've been listening to podcasts this long, like this goes all the way back to my childhood. Like, I wasn't the most athletic. I didn't have all the opportunities. I wasn't privileged, but I knew my work ethic is like, I knew I could lean into that. I'm not the smartest, but I also know that if I'm going to outwork the next guy at whatever it is that I do until I figure it out. And so having that confidence in yourself is like, if you know that about you, and only you know that, are you that guy? Are you the type of guy who does something for a little bit, then it gets hard and it gets boring and you quit? Or are you the type of guy who's like, I'm going to figure this out? And if that resonates with you, just lean into that. Like, I won't lose. It's just a matter of time. How long is it take me? Is it going to take me, and that's how these guys were when we started this podcast. We're like, we knew we sucked at podcasting. We knew that this is not our craft. We didn't know what we were doing, but everyone's like, I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. And will we figure it out in 100 episodes or 2,000 episodes later? We will figure it out, and we won't stop until then. And that we were totally confident that. We had no idea how long it would take, And that was where the formula of us doing like 5 episodes a week came from, was not because we thought that was some great business strategy. It was like, that was like with how much effort we could put. That's like the max we could do with Doug editing everything on him by himself, and us putting content. Like 5 is like about the max work effort we could do, while also trying to keep our full-time jobs to pay the bills and keep those things going. So lean into it. Whatever it is that you feel most passionate about, and don't be afraid of that. If you know that about your character, if you know that about who you are.
Dylan, how old are you, Dylan?
29.
So here's the other thing too to consider, is that most wealthy people are not wealthy because they make a lot of money at their job. They're wealthy because they took that money and leveraged it. In other words, if you look at 2 jobs, both of them cover the bills. One of them makes a lot more money, but you don't like it. The other one makes less money, but you're passionate about it. You could still become very wealthy with that by taking that money and leveraging it in investments and properties and stuff like that, especially at your age.
And that's that's kind of why I'm trying to work towards that. The part that's hard is that now I have a wife, I have a 2-year-old, I have another kid on the way. So for me, it's the question I actually have written out is, how do you balance ambition and business with the desire to provide beyond your basic needs, with still being present in the home, and what have you learned from that?
Yeah, I mean, look, here's the funny thing.
I hope you married the right woman. That would be the first
factor. No, she is.
Okay, to me, that's the answer right there. Like, the answer is a partner that is patient, trust in you, that you're going to go out there and figure it out, while she holds down the fort and supports you. Like, because what you can't have is a partner who, because you ended up having to work 12 hours that day to make it happen, guilts you for not being there as a dad, because that probably already rips you apart inside. Like, and if she's not like that, then you're going to be okay. You know, if she looks at you and says, "Go get it, honey. I trust you. I trust you're going to figure it out for us." And this is a short period of your time. Now, obviously, it's not ideal to have to work 12-hour days, 6-7 days a week when you have 2 kids, right? You want to be a present father, but you might be at a period of your life right now where that's what you need to do to get there. And so if it is, then you do that. And how she handles it in front of your kid is everything.
Yeah, but you gotta see what's in your heart, because I think sometimes men will use the work as an excuse because that's where they feel most comfortable. So if you really do value time with your kids versus I got to be at home more so my wife doesn't complain, those are two completely different heart postures. If your heart posture is, I do want to spend time with my kids, then I wouldn't worry about it. I think you're going to find a way to prioritize what's important. But if your heart posture is, I just want to work all day and I don't want to deal with all that at home, and that's how I escape, which happens to a lot of men, then that's what you need to examine. Because then no matter what, that's what's going to happen. Even if you're there, you won't be present.
Yeah, there are times where I definitely, like, that resonates with me a little bit, because there are times where it's like, maybe there's a problem that I'm having trouble solving at home, and I'm so good at my work that it's like it's easy for me just to go there because I know how to solve these problems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so it does definitely happen from time to time.
The ultimate mistake a father and a husband will make is being passive, and what that looks like is avoiding problems. So there's an issue, I'm going to run from it, which is it's the what they would say, the sinful nature of a man. Your wife's talking to you and you're just like, I'm going to go over here. Not going to think about it. It's very easy for us to disconnect. So if you find yourself doing that, do the hard thing, which is not go to work. It's to stay and deal with the issue and lead your family. Lead your family. That's your job as a father and a husband. And that'll pay you. And I'm telling you from personal experience, it'll be far more fruitful than going and doing the thing that is easy, which for you might be working.
Yeah, I've definitely appreciated in the times. Like, that's one of the things I love about y'all's podcast is that I like that honesty that y'all bring with like struggles that y'all have had.
Yeah.
Because that seeing y'all and how good of dads y'all are, it's nice to know that it's like there was a moment of imperfection.
For sure.
To say that, like, hey, it wasn't always this way. We had to work towards it.
100%.
They're still imperfect. Nobody's perfect, man.
Well, yeah, for sure.
It's always like that, man. It's always going to be a struggle. But yeah, that's the big thing, man. As a father and a husband, you're responsible. You're the CEO of your company. So you're responsible for all of it. all of it. And when those problems arise and you see them, your nature is going to be to disconnect, go do something else, something you're good at, something that's easy for you, but stay there and face it. That's how you lead your family.
Yeah. Do you have time for one more question? More fitness related?
Let's hear it.
So obviously with being a fireman, sleep is kind of an issue, especially like last year, our house ran 9,000 calls.
Oh my God.
So we're up. There have been some mornings that we get in and we get done with the shift and we walk into our bedroom with our bed fully made. We're like, well, that was dumb. Just put our bed linens back in the closet. Like just no sleep at all. And then obviously when you're trying to, like we're talking about, like doing these other extracurricular things, sometimes you go straight from there, straight somewhere else.
Yeah.
So sleep is kind of a tough thing at times. Are there any, I know that you all talk a lot about, are there any tips that you would say are good to get that baseline to start working towards having better sleep when I'm off, trying to focus on that?
Besides,
like any type of recommendations on that?
Besides the sleep routine stuff, the blue light blocking glasses and not eating before bed.
I feel it's gray blue light blocking glasses.
Yeah. So besides all that, the healthiest thing somebody can do in a job like yours is to take naps. So when
I do not like naps.
Yes, I know. Yeah. I know. Guys like you don't like taking naps, but it's actually the best. It's the second best thing you could do aside from getting 8 hours of sleep every night. So, and it does wonders for the brain and the body. So when when you do that, are you looking to get a combined, let's say I get 4 hours of sleep, are you looking to get like 4 hours worth of naps? No.
Or are you looking for just a standard hour and a half nap?
It's unreasonable to try to make up the time. I mean, that'd be great if you could, but what it probably looks like is
power naps.
Yeah, is you're either going to take a 20 to 30 minute nap or you're going to take a 90-minute nap. Those are kind of the two time frames. In between, you'll wake up feeling like you're half asleep. I don't know if that's ever happened to you. You take like a 45-minute nap, you wake up, you're like, oh. So it's like 20 or 30 minutes just to take off sleep pressure so you can function, or you go for 90 minutes for a full nap. So you just got to determine which one's better. And literally just sit, even if you don't want to, you just, go in a quiet room, close your eyes, lay back.
Brain FM.
Get yourself a hammock.
Brain FM and a sleep mask.
There you go.
I do have Brain FM. That's helped out a lot.
Yeah.
That works.
That's the hack for that. But it's not easy, especially for a guy that doesn't like to do it.
No, I know. Well, I will say this. It's kind of funny. When I first got Brain FM, I used it at the station because it's tough to sleep there because you're always expecting that call. And I went to bed playing in the background, and I woke up to one of my crew members yelling at me saying, hey, are you going to go on this call? And I slept through the call because Brain FM had put me so out. So it worked.
It's a good commercial.
That's a great Brain FM commercial. I'll make sure you clip that for them.
Yeah, so I actually had to work at dialing it back to only an hour so I wouldn't sleep through calls.
That's great.
That's
so
hilarious.
effective.
That's hilarious. Well,
yeah,
Dylan,
no, it was. It was pretty good.
Well, Dylan, you and I chat quite a bit on Instagram. So stay in touch with me. Let me know how things are going. But I really do feel like you know the answer to this. You just need to lean into it. And knowing the little bit I do know about you, I don't think you're a guy who, if you go all in and put yourself in a scary spot, you're not going to figure it out. You will. You'll figure it out. You'll be all right. And maybe this juggling all these things is just kind of your way of excusing yourself from doing the thing you're supposed to do. So whatever that is, lean into it, and I believe you'll make it happen.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate y'all's time.
All right,
got it, man.
Right
Thanks
on.
for calling in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, good character, you could tell. 29.
Yeah,
I wouldn't worry.
It didn't dawn on me until right before we got on, and then I saw the full name and I'm like, oh shit, I talk to this guy all the time.
Yeah.
Like he's a regular. He's been listening to us for a long time, and he didn't talk a lot about it, but how we got to talking a lot was when I started sharing some of our real estate stuff, and he's like big into like finding these properties, and he goes and does a lot of the work himself, so he'll find like a little fixer upper. buy it, put all the work in, and then 6-9 months later, sell it for a nice little profit. So
he's fine.
Yeah, no, he's got what it is he's doing a bunch of different things.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Many, irons in the fire.
Yeah, and the obviously the firefighter career is a very consistent, solid paycheck for him, and then and obviously real estate is inconsistent. You know, you're the mercy of the market, but
I mean, he's making a good, consistent salary if he invests conservatively at 29.
Just keep chipping away at it.
He'll be fine. I remember one of the first times I realized this. I met a man who was a multi-millionaire in the Bay Area, owned all these properties. Like, what do you do for a living? He's like, I'm a cashier at it was a local grocery store.
Dude, I know.
I'm like, what?
Well, that's like the statistic with all the teachers. Yeah.
Millionaire Next Door is such a great read, and that's one of the things they break down as the top 5. It's like the top 5 professions that are multimillionaires you wouldn't even guess, because it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with living well below your means, having the discipline, whether you make 80 grand, 100 grand, 300 grand, living well below that, taking the money that, like you said, leveraging it to grow on the side. And what it is you just have to start so small at first. God, I love the analogy of like we compare it to building muscle or losing body fat. Yeah. It's slow, it's arduous, it's not going to come really fast. It seems like, oh my God, I didn't get any results from that one workout. Of course, that one investment or that one time you saved is like not going to but you do that every day for months, years, shit starts to compound.
Builds and grows,
Our next caller is Betty from Utah.
Hi, Betty.
How you doing, Betty?
Hi, you guys.
How are you?
How's it going?
I am starstruck. I can't believe I'm actually talking to you guys right now. I'm so good. How are you?
We're good. How are you doing?
We're doing good.
How can we help you?
Okay, so should I just read my email and then we can go from there? Would that be the easiest?
That's probably the easiest way to do it.
Okay. Also, I just want to say thank you for everything. Along with everybody else in the whole world, you've changed my life and many others. So we'll get to that later, but thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, I'm very excited, a little bit nervous. So here we go. I said, hey guys, I'm a huge fan. I love every episode, which, by the way, I started from episode 1 and made it to about 400 and then decided to skip ahead so I don't miss any new stuff, which probably I did, otherwise I wouldn't be here. So I've been listening for a little over a year, and I listen to you all day while I'm at work. I started my fitness journey as a runner after I had my baby, and I was a runner for about a year, and I got all the way down to 114 pounds, but I also wasn't eating much, and by that I mean not a lot at all. When I got divorced, I couldn't run in the morning anymore, and so I got a job in my gym membership. And so begins my love affair with lifting. I've been lifting for 13 years. And, sorry, I gotta scroll down. I love it so much. I've gained a tremendous amount of strength and confidence. For context, I am 38 years old. I'm 5 feet tall. I'm 146 pounds. My scale claims I'm 23% body fat. I don't know how accurate that is. My pant size is a size 4, so I am pretty small. I can squat 200 pounds. I deadlift 265, and I can bench 165.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
You're strong.
Great numbers.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm very nervous. Early last year, when I found you guys, I started... What?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yep, we hear you.
I thought I heard something. Sorry. Early last year, when I found you guys, I started my cut and was able to drop down to 135 from 155 pounds. Took me about 5 months. I looked and felt great. I managed to keep most of my strength, but I did have to cut my calories pretty low to get there, probably around 12 to 1,300 calories. I went on a 3-day vacation with my husband, and when I got back, I had gained 10 pounds, and I was a little surprised. I swam while I was there. I got all of my steps. I didn't eat or drink too crazy, but I did really enjoy myself. But after I got back, for the life of me, I could not get that 10 pounds off. It wouldn't budge. So I reverse dieted for about 4 months. I increased my calories to 2,300 calories, and I was eating 150 grams of protein. And I got up to 154 pounds, and I was about 90 to 95% consistent. This is my thing. It's what I do. It's what I love. So I was pretty good on it. I started my cut in January and I'm down to 146, which is great. But it feels like I need to drastically cut my calories low to even get things moving beyond that. I have no interest in ever being 114 pounds ever again. I was pretty much a skeleton. But I can't seem to lose the body fat that I put on during my reverse diet. I am a trainer and a coach, and my clients have fantastic results. Why don't I? Ha 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 ha. I'm bouncing between Match 15 and Anabolic, and I can't decide which way to go. I'm also wondering what happened. How did I gain that much weight in 3 days? And then I included some pictures. Blah, 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 blah. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So 10 pounds, you gained 10 pounds in 3 days.
Yeah.
Well, definitely it was a bunch of water and stuff.
Yeah, but it stuck.
Yeah.
It's stuck. And usually, like, when I go on vacation, I anticipate I'm going to gain a couple pounds. It's just what you do, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually gone in 3 to 5 days.
Okay.
And it did not go away. It didn't matter how hard I tried, how hard I cut. And I tried, like, fixing my stuff. Like, I would do, like, higher calories in one day, lower calories on another day to try and, like, break things up a little bit, you know? But didn't matter. So I was like, okay, I listened to you guys. So I was like, maybe I'm ready for my, like, reverse diet. And I would, like, really be focusing on, like, getting strong, which my body puts on weight easy. And when I say weight, I don't just mean fat. Like, I can put on strength and muscle pretty good. It's losing the fat that I have an issue with.
Mm-hmm.
And so the scale was starting to make me nervous. And so I took your guys' advice and just stopped weighing myself during the reverse diet. And so that's how I got up to 154. And I weighed myself at 154 and I didn't panic. I kind of anticipated it. And I got back down to 146 super easy, but I can't seem to get past it.
Okay.
So,
are you testing body fat too?
I have it on my scale. So I don't know how accurate it is, but so according to my scale, I'm 23%. And when I was at 135, I was at 21. According to my scale, again, I don't know how accurate it is, but.
So low 20% is good, especially if you're as strong as you are. Like I'm like your bench press in particular is super impressive. I don't know too many women. I haven't met too many women who can put up 165 in the bench press at your size. That's like competitive level strength. So now any signs of hormone imbalances? Because do you have any signs of like libido changes, hair changes, sleep, anything like that?
So I was actually listening to one of your episodes a couple days ago, and you were talking about like the cortisol imbalance, and that seemed to like resonate with me. My sleep is good once I'm asleep, but I have a hard time falling asleep. But once I'm asleep, like my house could burn down, and I wouldn't have any idea. Like I sleep really deep, but. So I'm trying to like limit my caffeine. I don't drink a ton, but I do. So I'm limiting my caffeine, and I'm in the midst of like trying to help my sleep be better. And so I just started that a couple days ago, so I haven't really noticed a big change, but I don't.
I would know. Whenever I see or hear when someone's tracking diligently and they're getting like strange weight gain, rapid weight gain, like you did. I always ask to look at hormones. I always let's see if there's anything going on with the hormones that could be causing like severe water retention. Because that's 10 pounds in 3 days. It's like physiologically impossible to gain 10 pounds of body fat in 3 days.
I know, so that's why I didn't panic too much. So I was like, mathematically, that's not possible.
Right.
But it didn't go away.
But water retention for sure, and water retention that sticks around can be a result of some hormone imbalance issues or hormone issues. So I would get that. I would get that checked and looked at. Aside from that, if you feel good, if your fitness is good, if you're not getting crazy mood swings, you feel healthy, no crazy joint, like no achiness, joint pain type of stuff.
No,
I would stay.
Not really.
I would stay the course. I would just stay the course. And wait until you get your hormones checked. And the second thing I would do is go with the functional medicine practitioner if that comes back normal to see if there's anything else that's going on that can be causing like water retention. But just so you know, like low 20s is a great percentage of body fat.
Place to be.
That's where you want to always be. You always want to kind of walk around between 19 to 24% body fat. If you're fit, that's great.
Did you feel like anywhere in your body particularly that you felt like that weight kind of sat, or is it like more in your stomach, or is this like kind of overall?
It's like it's everywhere. Like it wasn't like, oh my gosh, now all of a sudden my pants don't fit. It was like everything still like pretty much fit normal, but I didn't notice like my face wasn't puffy. Like everything just seemed okay. But I was like, whoa. And I've gone on like week-long vacations before, and I went to Hawaii. This was before I went on this vacation. I went to Hawaii, and we were gone for 10 days, and I came back and I like had lost a pound. So it's like, I don't know what happened between then and there, and so that was probably when we got back from this vacation. I think it was August of last year. So that's when this whole thing kind of started.
Any changes in menstrual cycle?
No, in fact, it's actually like the best it's ever been in my life. So like clockwork.
Oh, good.
So,
okay,
that's a good sign.
Yeah, it is a good sign.
Energy, libido, and everything else is okay.
Energy is iffy, but I am again. I'm trying to address like that with my sleep. I'm hoping if I can really hone in on my sleep, that'll help with my energy and everything. But it depends on the day. But mostly, like I'm usually okay until about 4 p.m. and then I really get really tired and have to have my energy drinks so I can go to the gym, and here we are. So
lean into the sleep hormone thing. I mean, let's check that box and make sure. Now, if everything comes back and you're great, the next question I'd have is, okay, so how long were you at 2,300 calories for, and it was that the highest you'd ever reverse dieted to?
That is the highest, yes. And I was there for about a month. Okay. But that was working up from so when I was at 135 and I was hanging out there, I was at about like 1,700.
Oh, okay.
And so I slowly brought myself up over those 4 months. But, I can gain super easy. It's losing that was hard. So
let's say all the hormone stuff is fine. Then the advice I would have is to lean into the building muscle and actually doing it. Even though psychologically it might be difficult for you to keep pushing the calories, but since you do build muscle relatively good, is like, just saying, hey, I'm gonna really lean into this building muscle thing for a little bit longer and see if I can get these calories up to say 2,900 calories. Same way you did, real slow, incremental like that, and just trying to get stronger. Hopefully we see, even though you're very strong, hopefully we still see some strength improvements that way. And ultimately getting your calories up to a higher place where your body weight doesn't change and shift, and then coming back down again and seeing if you can find yourself at a new low.
And another approach is just to stay at like 2,200 calories, stay at maintenance, and focus on getting stronger through your workouts, and just live there. Just live there for a while. And then the other question I have for you, this is more of a root type question. You're sitting at a good healthy body fat percentage. It seems like you're healthy. Why is this more of just a frustration thing? Like, why my body's not reacting, or like?
A little bit. I feel like I know my body pretty well, so when it does something I don't expect, it's like, excuse me, ma'am, I have been with you a long time. Why all of a sudden, are you behaving weird? Yeah. And so it was more like, my question was more out of curiosity than frustration. I mean, it's frustrating, but I've dealt with I've dealt with my weight my whole life, but it's not because I was super unhealthy and tried to get healthy. It's just I grew up with a mom that was always I'm on a diet, I'm so fat, I'm blah, 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 blah. And so I really, really worked hard to move away from that mindset. So when I was, a runner and not eating, I was like, oh, look how skinny I am. And then, so my husband now, but my boyfriend at the time, we were going on a vacation, and I was like, cool, I get to try on new bikinis. And I did. And I turned around and saw my ass in the mirror and was like, oh my God, no, this is not better. This isn't better. So that's really when I got my gym membership and started lifting, and it's totally changed my life and my outlook. And I love it so much. I preach it. I tell everybody about you guys. I just I live and breathe it. And I feel like I'm doing everything right. And so I'm like, well, how come this isn't working? Like, I've reverse dieted my clients. They have amazing success. Like, so I don't know. I was like, how come this isn't working for me? So it's more of a curiosity and trying to just like understand what happened.
If you were my client, I would tell you to hover around 2,100 calories and just stay there for a while. And stop chasing something by manipulating your diet.
But more importantly, you would say go get your hormones checked. Let's check. Let's go get a full blood panel, see everything.
While you're doing that, test your hormones, but then just stay at that maintenance level and just live there for a while. Let your body get comfortable. You get comfortable with it, and just kind of detach from this like I need to chase up or down type of thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So does like 150 grams of protein seem adequate? Is it too much? Is it?
No.
You're okay. What you've explained, you've done on the diet and everything like that. You're good. You really are.
Okay.
You're doing it right. Mm-hmm.
And makes me feel actually a lot better.
Yeah, good.
I thought there was something else that I was going to say. I don't know. I'm very nervous, but
I'd love to hear back from you after you get your panels, because I feel like we're going to get some better insight on what's going on. It sounds like you know what you're doing. It sounds like you're pretty consistent with your tracking and everything like that. So I don't know if there's going to be room for error there. I think it's going to be. I think we might find something enlightening on that end, especially with the way the weight came on and stayed like that for that long of a period of time.
Are you in our trainer forum?
I am.
Oh, great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So follow up with us, please.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm 30% through with the trainer course. So.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
That's the best. That's the best place that you're in there. Just to reach out to us in there.
So would you recommend right now, like I'm kind of battling on whether I should do like right now I'm doing MAPS 15. But I'm also kind of like bouncing back and forth between anabolic. It kind of depends on how I'm feeling that day. Does that seem like that's okay? Or should I like stick with one or the other? Because I'm trying to like focus on my sleep and see if I can like bring my cortisol down, because we were talking, you guys were talking about that and it resonated with me. So
MAPS 15.
I'm trying to decide which path to go.
MAPS 15.
Yeah. Stay with MAPS 15.
Stay there.
Less volume's a good experiment.
And don't fall in the trap of like, oh, I got great sleep, I feel great, so now I'm gonna do MAPS anabolic. Ride out MAPS 15 no matter what. So if you feel great and you can do more, still do MAPS 15 and stick with that consistently for a while we figure all this out.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, buddy.
And you have time for one more question?
Yeah,
let's hear it.
Okay. This is not fully related to me. So I have a friend who also is a trainer, and she is amazing. Her name is Kimba. Hi, Kimba. And she has a client that she's had for about 3 years, and she was in a crash skiing, not like a bad one, but like kind of hurt her shoulder a little bit. And ever since that happened, she cannot fire her right glute, like especially when she's doing like RDLs. Like she took a video and I could see that the right side or the left side was like firing and engaged and good, but the left side or the right side was like dead. It was nothing. And she said that her client said that she can't feel it. And she used to be able to. This is just since her crash and she hurt her shoulder. Would the shoulder and the glute be connected? Or
her spine? Yeah, I'd have her go get tested by a neurologist to see if there's any nerve damage, impingement or damage that's causing a disconnection to the glute.
Okay, cool.
Yep, that's the first place I'd look.
I'll tell her. And then Justin, I'm very interested in your like Indian clubs that you do.
Oh, cool.
Do you have like a class or like an online thing that I can watch so I can learn how to do it?
I have some videos that we shot when we were running like a subscription model on the Mind Pump IG page for a while.
Cool.
With Kelly Manzone, and she's brilliant, one of the best instructors out there. And so
what's her Instagram? What's her Instagram? Do you remember?
Kelly Manzone.
What's her name?
That's her name. I'll just have to look it up. But she does a lot of videos. I will go ahead and DM you if you reach out to me. Those videos, I have them on my computer still, so I'm happy to send those out. And then there you go, Kells Bells. I might actually. I'll see if I can put those in the trainer form.
That would be awesome.
Yeah,
because I have I also work in I have a lot of your guys' programs, but so I also work in a lot of like mobility work from MAPS Performance just periodically throughout my week. And so I've become like the weird person in the gym that has their own mobility stick and like hangs out on the turf and does like all the isolation like holds and stuff. And
you're one of the cool kids, don't worry.
I've had a lot of people come up and ask like, what are you doing? What's this about? And so
that's awesome.
Like I'm kind of leaning into the mobility side because it seems like there's a lot of people that are
so much value there. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Watch how that increases if you really stand out with that. Like people need that.
That's such a trainer hack to get clients too. Is doing something that's like that then you can then articulate and explain why you're doing it to people, and then and then introduce that. It's a great way to get clients.
It's a great ad for sure.
Yeah. And so I'm really trying to like make that more of my niche than just like strength training, because a lot of the people that are like in my gym and around me are like, well, I can do this. What do I need you for? But if I can like, and I've taken this from your guys' podcast, if I can be, if I can help them like alleviate their pain, then I'm immediately showing value. And I am see, I know something you don't. I can actually help you, So I'm really trying to learn really more about like mobility and like correctional exercise and stuff. And the Indian clubs, I was like, that is so cool. Like that'll spark some interest probably if people are like, what is this thing that this girl is doing?
Always does. Yep. That's beautiful. Yeah. Keep doing that for sure. It's going to pay off.
That's awesome, Betty.
Hey, cool. Well, you guys, I am so grateful for you. I'm glad that I found you. I don't even remember how I found you, but from the first episode, I was hooked. I've laughed, I've cried, I've done everything while listening to you guys. And it's really nice and it's really refreshing to hear from people that like get it. I want to say, you guys are about health, you're about longevity, you're about everything that I stand for, where a lot of people that are in this industry just mostly go on how you look, and that's not what I'm about. And so it was so nice to find you guys to validate what I was trying to say to the world and like help me actually learn how to speak it. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you, Betty.
Thank you, Betty.
Appreciate that.
Yep.
We'll see you in the forum.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye. Yeah.
Hormones. She's 38. I think there's got to be something there.
Yeah, I mean, well, you gained 10-pound weight gain in 3 days.
That's interesting.
It's not body fat.
And she's reverse dieted. She also could be like, I mean, she is if she's 23% body fat, that's a great place. She's already built like somebody who holds muscle, builds muscle. She might just be finding this place. This is where you're happy. This is where your body, and this is a hard part about social media and the stuff that we promote as fit and healthy, and it's just like
you got to push to these other.
Yeah,
low 20 is a great place.
Low 20%, and that's strong. Yeah. So she's got a ton of muscle on her, and she's on her little 5-foot frame. She might just be finding like this is where my body is most happy.
That's right.
And it's just tough because some people can walk around at teens and for a woman and that feel healthy.
Yeah, but then they can't bench 165.
Yeah, no, that's a fact, right? Yeah. For sure.
Totally. All right, I know you liked that episode. If you did, check this one out. One of the keys to fat loss is protein. It's true. If you're not eating a high protein diet, you're not going to burn as much body fat as you can. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about the smartest ways to use protein for fat burn and to build muscle. You got to watch this.
I wish I understood this earlier in my career. I think it was probably almost 10 years in when I started to just focus on this with clients.
I knew it was important,
but
I don't know how important.
Yeah, I knew it was important, but I also didn't